You make me feel like I'm living a teenage dream. As long as she's packaged like string cheese.
How do you think Sean Spicer is feeling right this second?
I am not a member of the deep state. Tutankhamun is the oldest person I know.
Yes!
It was all we're leading up to that.
Yes!
To President Trump, you're going to have to make a decision. The campaign is over. To the Republican Party, who are we? What do we believe? When they write the history of these times, I'm going to be with these kids.
It was a bunch of nonsense, and then Al Franken making her look stupid, and then we're like, we're done, let's put her in! Ha
Sushi jackknife, 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 sushi jackknife.
I don't know about you, but I'm chilled out right now.
You're chilled?
I'm chilled.
You know what? I am too. The
Hallelujah.
week is over.
Yes.
It's Friday.
It is.
When we record this, not necessarily when anyone listens to this.
Right. It is.
Although if you've timed it out where you're listening to this on a Friday, congratulations, you win.
You get to celebrate right along with us. Mm-hmm. Celebrate freedom from the Bergens. I watch a lot of Trolls. It's not by choice. It's just something that's happening in my life.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Right.
So we've had the issue in our house about watching things.
Yes.
Where I'm realizing that my child is now too old for me to watch everything I want to watch with him in the room.
Okay. Oh, because he picks up on things.
Well, I mean, not officially, but like we like to watch the television show Casual on Hulu.
Yeah, I've seen previews for that.
Not a good children's show. And I keep having to wait to watch that until he goes to bed.
It's funny that they bill it as a children's show.
Yeah, it's really weird.
You know,
right?
like with all those like stuffed kangaroos and stuff. It's odd that they,
I think to make what they should do for parents, to make any show a children's show, is just at the end have the characters come out and go, now what did we learn today?
Yes.
The moral of the story is drugs aren't good.
No. The moral of the story is if you decide to sleep with your best friend's girlfriend,
it's going to end poorly.
Poorly.
Now go to bed, children.
Right.
I wanted to watch, and I've watched one episode of it, a show on FX called Snowflake.
I haven't heard of this at all.
About the beginning of crack.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's definitely not a kid-friendly show.
That sounds intense.
Yeah, no, it was intense. And definitely a 1+-year-old should not be enjoying it with me. So now if we want to watch any TV while he's in the room, it's like, all right, what's on the network? Do we want to watch news? Let's watch the news. Whatever.
You want to watch Battle of the Network Stars?
Mm-hmm. I watched Celebrity Family Feud with him in the room.
Oh, God.
Yep.
I feel like with that Snowflake show, they're just going to need a lot of stuffed kangaroos to get through it.
A lot.
A lot.
Really, if they replaced the entire cast with stuffed kangaroos and the crack with cotton candy.
Well, that's good.
Then it would be a children's show.
Do you remember the psychology test with marshmallows to see if kids could stand to
yes.
wait? Well, if no one's ever heard of this, basically there's this famous study where they they give a kid a marshmallow. The researchers do, not like some weird they, but a safe
It's
they.
just a guy
It's
in
a
a
guy
van.
or a gal.
That's true. We don't want to be sexist here. Girls can be terrible child molesters too.
Okay. These are not child molesters in this scenario, though.
Well, no.
This is a research scenario.
But, I mean, in an unmarked van.
Okay.
With no windows.
Fine, if that's what you need to get through this.
No, I don't like it.
Okay.
I'm very against it.
But you just need a schema, though.
Yeah.
You need, a setting.
I haven't gotten to watch these shows.
Okay.
I have to get it out.
So you give a kid a marshmallow, and you tell the kid, hey, I got to go for 5 minutes. I'm coming back. You're going to be alone for a while. If I come back and you haven't eaten the marshmallow, I'll give you 2. Okay, and what they found was, they had various results. A lot of kids ate the marshmallow. A few didn't, right? If I'm remembering it correctly.
Most did.
Most
yes.
did. Most ate it. and the ones that didn't eat it had various strategies to not eat it, like they would hum, or they would not look at it, or they would look at it and just stare at it. And they did a longitudinal study, meaning they followed these kids later in life, and the ones that could wait, the ones that could wait did better in their lives. They were more successful, quote unquote, as people than the kids who couldn't wait. So if you have a bag of marshmallows right now,
torment your child.
Maybe it's time to stop.
Oh, it's time to stop
eating them.
Right.
Or you could torment your child.
That's what I think. That's a better use of time. Hey, welcome to Sushi Jack.
Well, hi there. We're here. You're here. We're all here together.
Yeah.
I mean, in this space that we've created, that we've carved out for ourselves.
I feel like
on the internet,
what we've created is kind of like a safe place.
It's not safe at all.
No, but it's a safe place where no one should feel threatened or upset.
I don't know about that.
Well, I mean, they shouldn't. They shouldn't feel that way. I'm not going to guarantee that they don't. I did just open up the idea that child molesters can also be women.
Yeah.
So clearly we're not sexist here.
While you're ruminating on that thought, well, yeah, clearly we're not. Mm-hmm. I would venture to say, in most instances,
yeah,
this is coming up naturally. By the way, I would venture to say, in most instances, you and I are very tolerant. Yeah. We might be 2 white guys, reasonably privileged. Not rich or anything.
Middle class. I think I recently have, in the last couple of years, moved from lower middle class to lower middle class.
I'm right there with you, actually. I'm right there with you.
Somewhere there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So take that into account, but I would say we're reasonably tolerable. In the spirit of being reasonably tolerable, by the way, my good friend, Philly Steve. Not Nebraska Roy this time. Philly Steve pointed out,
hey, Philly Steve, bring me a cheesesteak. That's all I know about Philadelphia.
Yeah, well, that's... I mean, there's a lot more.
Phillies, right?
Yeah, they are.
Lenny Dykstra.
Don't know who that is.
He played for the Phillies.
Oh, great.
For a while.
Okay.
I mean, he doesn't anymore. Actually went to jail for
child
being
molestation?
involved in a Ponzi scheme or something.
Fuck. Okay. Well, that is a little better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's not...
A baseball
It's morally...
Ponzi scheme?
No.
Oh.
No, he...
Are we getting into baseball again?
Yeah, we're not going to... Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
I guess people can Wikipedia this if they really want to.
Yeah,
Okay.
Just check it out. Okay. Eagles, right?
Sure.
Flyers?
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Hey, remember Allen Iverson?
Don't eat a crow. You might die.
All right, Philly Steve.
We made a kind of a dumb crack about gay people not liking good electronic music last time because you had been to Play and I said that I had been to Pride and there was a preponderance of just bad electronic music. And Philly Steve, in his infinite wisdom, and I'm not being sarcastic, he knows a lot about, he's a big electronic music fan. He's turned me on to a lot of good stuff. He's like, hey, remember, he wasn't mad, but he was like, hey, remember, electronic music grew out of the predominantly African-American gay scene in, various cities.
There's a chance I wasn't clear enough here.
Okay.
Mine wasn't electronic music. Mine was bad pop music involving a lot of synthesizers. And I know it probably came out of the same place, but you know what? It's still awful.
Okay. Well, just saying.
It's an opinion. I'm fully aware it's an opinion.
No, and I think his point is great. I think it's a cool, good reminder. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That I was thinking about this actually off the back of him saying that. Most of the great music has come out of oppressed communities.
Yeah, well, that's true.
I mean, it just blues, pretty obvious. Jazz, another one. I mean, these are like new genres, right?
If you go
of
down
music.
the list of every genre, pretty much, aside from really bad modern pop music.
There may be some people within that, but yes, there's a machine behind them.
Yeah,
pushing things forward.
But I mean, like punk.
Punk, absolutely.
Yeah, everything.
Everyone except, like you say, modern pop and maybe Mozart, because
That's true. That really wasn't.
right. If you're playing a harpsichord and you're not Tori Amos, if you're playing a harpsichord otherwise,
Starting in the early 1900s.
okay,
We'll,
that's good.
We'll go with that.
That's good. Don't you think, have you ever thought this, that pop music is really folk music, like with the edges rounded off? Have you ever had that thought? I've had that thought.
Maybe some.
I mean, it's like, it's not classical music.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? The song structure, the types of chords, and the way the music works, you know, being a lyrical music predominantly too,
Yeah.
is more close to a folk music than it is to a classical type music.
Okay.
I guess. I don't know. It's just something I've thought about.
Well, it's interesting that they decided to ruin folk music.
When did they do that?
I'm talking about you, Katy Perry.
Oh, she ruined folk music?
No, you're comparing her to folk music.
Pop. Okay, I see. I actually like Katy Perry.
I know you do.
Yeah.
But you know what? Katy Perry is awful. And Katy Perry did not come out of the predominantly African-American gay scene.
She did not.
So I am allowed to insult her with no... I don't even have to explain it. She's just very bad.
She did kiss a girl and like it.
She did do that.
Yeah.
But she also did a lot of other things that are very upsetting to hear, just like musically.
Is that true? Oh, okay.
Yeah, just all the music.
I thought you meant she had done a lot of like morally,
Yeah, no, morally bankrupt things like make her music.
Okay. You make me feel like I'm living a teenage dream. I'm just saying. California girls are unforgettable? Is that a line?
I think so. It's that music. This is why I don't like it.
Okay.
I don't like anything overly sweet.
Ah.
And
Okay.
like even
All right.
even when the pop ladies are being nasty, like they're being mean to everyone, it's still like a really like, hey, I'm being cutesy mean. And I don't like it.
I don't know. I think some people are actually being mean. I also like Lady Gaga quite a bit.
Well,
I'm just being,
you know what? Here's what I'll say about Lady Gaga.
say it.
I don't like her music.
Okay.
That's not all I'm saying.
Okay. I was hoping.
And that's it.
Close that door.
Lady Gaga, I feel like, is actually a very talented individual.
Absolutely.
With that said, she's wasting it talking about stupid poker faces.
To be fair, she's expanded her palette quite a bit.
Yeah.
She's so similar to Madonna to me in a lot of ways. I mean, Madonna was doing similar things in the 80s that she's doing now. You know
I'll
what I
take
mean?
that comparison.
No, I think it's very
The
valid.
difference
Very
is,
valid.
I feel like as an artist, she's already surpassed Madonna.
Could be. Though I bought 2 Madonna songs recently.
Why?
I
Are you mad at yourself?
I was at a cafe. Well, I
By
was
the
at
way,
a diner.
that's the kind of stuff they were playing where I was at.
What's that? Oh, Madonna.
Madonna
Okay.
and
Lady
Gaga.
Gaga. Yeah.
And wait, I mean, there was a shocking amount of Nicki Minaj, which, I mean, just a shocking amount.
It seems like that bothers you.
It kind of
It was
does.
a lot. It was a lot, huh?
It's a lot of,
Yeah.
like, I can handle Nicki Minaj in little snippets. I don't need more than one song of Nicki Minaj in a single 24-hour period.
As long as she's packaged like string cheese, you can deal
right.
with Nicki.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't want the whole block.
No.
Just a little.
bit.
And by one, I mean tolerate.
Maybe a shaving. Off of the Parmesan wheel
Yeah.
of Nicki Minaj. You just want a
Yeah,
little taste.
I am fully aware that I'm a music snob when it comes to pop music, and I have embraced it.
That's fine.
I'm going to run with it.
You should.
That's my life.
I like it. I'm good with it. I had other thoughts, but
About music?
they're not very important.
Okay.
They're just,
Do you want to talk about Linkin Park?
well, I sort of feel like we should.
Okay.
today is the 21st of July,
That adds up.
2017, and we've learned. I learned on NPR this morning that Chester from Linkin Park died in an apparent suicide. Not really sure. Don't want to spread that around.
I think he, based on what I've heard, involved rope.
Oh God, he was.
I'm not going to swear by that. This is just what I've heard.
Well, he was a troubled guy.
Yeah.
We learned that today. I mean, you could look at his lyrics and think, that guy's probably troubled. And, I guess this is the asshole in me that just has to say, like, I was never a fan. I remember when they came out. I remember their first music video being on MTV2, probably.
Yeah.
Because MTV had ceased to play videos by that point, as I'm sure is still the case.
I would assume
God
so.
knows what MTV2 is even anymore.
YouTube exists now. You don't need
There
MTV.
you go. You don't. But it was nice when it was great.
Yeah.
I remember seeing it, and I remember thinking, yeah, this is not for me. That's about right.
I
was pretty resistant. I mean, I was in high school in the early 2000s, right? And so I was pretty resistant to all of the popular rock music coming out then. I mean, I was a big... fan of alt rock, and this was not what I was into.
There was a little bit too much record scratching.
Well,
for me.
it was the rock rap era. I mean, I remember being in middle school and Limp Bizkit came out, and boy, that was a thing.
Now, not to veer too far off of the general thesis of this conversation, but in an era where Linkin Park and Limp Bizkit were the big bands, I think everyone can agree that Linkin Park was better than Limp Bizkit.
Oh, 100%.
Like,
I mean,
significant. I never bought an album.
Right.
Never voluntarily listened to either one of them.
Right.
But just one of them made me very unhappy to hear, and the other one
less. Less
Yeah.
unhappy. I mean, I now remember reading reviews in Rolling Stone and stuff about how Linkin Park was, producing good work within their genre, within their field, I almost said.
And I'm sure they were.
Yeah.
Just not a field I enjoyed.
That you romp in. Yeah.
Which is fun.
You don't pick daisies in that field.
The daisies there are for other people.
They're sad daisies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and they're very sad daisies today. Yeah. So I don't want to lark too much on a guy's apparent suicide. I mean, we've had 2 rock and roll suicides recently. To quote a David Bowie song, we've had Chris Cornell, and now we've had this guy, or so it seems. And boy, it's sad. I guess I thought we were past it. I don't know why I felt that way, but that's how I felt.
It's weird. This is what I was thinking when I read it. And, aside from it being a person who died,
right.
I had no emotional attachment to him or Linkin Park. I don't know anything about him.
Right.
But it's weird living in a time where you're seeing the musicians who were popular when you were younger dying for various reasons.
Yes, it is odd. I mean, it's like our generation is experiencing that, what was experienced by the boomers, I guess, when Hendrix and Janis Joplin and Jim Morrison. How did he die again?
Oh, a variety of different ways. He's I believe the last time it was because he fell asleep in the bathtub because he was tired and drowned.
Oh.
That's my latest theory.
Are you proposing that Jim Morrison is like Rasputin and that he could barely be killed? It took a lot of killing to kill him? Mm-hmm. Interesting.
He had cat-like tendencies.
I would agree with that.
Many lives.
Yeah.
Many lives.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Somewhere there's someone listening to this going, he believes in reincarnation! That's ridiculous!
Lizard King my ass! I remember a conversation with my dad at one point. My dad's a big rock and roll guy, which is probably why I'm such a big rock and roll guy. It's awesome. Jim Morrison just talking about how he was the Lizard King, and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, Dad, but that sounds awesome. So I'm going to devote my life to that.
I feel like of all the rock musician nicknames.
Yeah.
Lizard King. I don't know if it's the best or the worst, but it's one of them.
It's the best. I am sure
it goes
it's the
back
best.
and forth.
I'm sure it's the best.
I don't,
Speaking of musical stuff, this is a bit of a segue.
Segway.
Just watch out for it as it goes by, because it's a tourist. They're not paying attention.
And you're
They've
not
never
going to hear
driven-
it.
Right.
It's battery powered.
It's battery powered, and no one has ever driven one before. Every time you ride a Segway, it's the first time, unless you are a Segway tour guide.
It makes me think Segways are the worst
They're the worst.
because everyone rides them once.
Right. They're the future, but they're also the worst. In England right now,
Yeah.
much like the fervor whipped up by Bernie Sanders in this country, you have one Jeremy Corbyn in a fervor at the moment.
Okay.
To the point where the youth are chanting to the tune of the White Stripes Seven Nation Army, "Oh, Jeremy Corbyn. Oh, Jeremy Corbyn." I don't know if they're doing the second part, more just the first one in a loop.
I don't know that I care for that chant.
Well, it's
feels
interesting.
bad.
I feel like Jack White should be getting paid every time it happens, because I understand a little bit about how people get paid for their music. But I have also recorded, in a couple instances, a high school band doing like a Black Keys song or Seven Nation Army at different points. So, and I don't know how that works either. But I got to tell you, it was kind of fun. Yeah, the youth apparently in England are very excited about one Jeremy Corbyn. I keep wanting to call him Corgan because I think Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins, one of my personal heroes.
That would be an interesting era in England.
Yeah. Despite all my rage, I still want to be the prime minister.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say I would not like him to be in charge of a country. I don't feel like that would go well.
He seems unstable. I mean, I love the guy. I love his music, but geez. By the way, when you come to my birthday party this year, which I'm going to have,
Okay.
I'm having a birthday party. I guess I'm announcing it right now.
Are you inviting everyone who listens to the podcast?
Absolutely, I am.
Okay.
Jeff, Kung Fu Drive-In, I hope you're there.
Yeah.
Tattoo Banana Guys, I hope you're there. Philly Steve, I know it's hard. Maybe you can be there. I mean, it's tough. It's a long
Hey,
trip.
I want Philly Steve here most of all.
Well, I do love Philly Steve. Nebraska
No,
Roy.
I love Philly Steve.
You don't even know him.
Philly Steve is my favorite.
Okay. Nebraska Roy, I know it's tough. Maybe you can fly in. Who knows?
He's my arch nemesis.
Well, you're very similar, you two. I would not tell you that in person, but there's similarities between you. And I think that's what I like about you. I mean, he's my oldest friend.
Do you mean oldest like he's the oldest person you know?
No.
Oh.
No.
Like not age-wise.
No. Tutankhamun is the oldest person I know.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
I just
come on.
wondered if this is where I find out he's like 85.
Well,
He's my oldest friend.
literally old. So, no. When I have my birthday party this year, I will be 33.
Yeah.
One Billy Corgan once wrote a song on an album called Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness.
Never heard
I
it.
know it's very emo sounding, kids, but it was my generation, so fuck you. He has a song called 33. I will be 33 years old. And just so you know, to prepare you in advance, we're going to play that song probably on a loop for the whole night. Well,
The thing is, I'm
right.
busy that night.
oh, God.
I already made plans to do the stuff. You know how it is.
The best part about that song is Jen and I bonded, my wife Jen, and I bonded over Smashing Pumpkins, a mutual love for Smashing Pumpkins in college. That was like the first thing that we had in common, you know, and then like, you know, all the sex and stuff. Hi, Mom. So the first thing we had in common was this love of Smashing Pumpkins, and she and I were trying to remember how the lyrics go in that song 33 this week, and we were both like, is that pain or rain or shame or Dane? We're not really sure. Can I do my Billy Corgan for you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Suppers waiting on the table. This is 33. Tomorrow's just an excuse away. It's not bad, right?
That's not terrible at all.
It's not.
It's not great.
My first favorite
because I could
band.
understand every one of those words, and I should understand no more than 50%.
So I pull my collar up and face the rain, pain, shame, not sure, on my own. So
It
go
would
listen
be-
to 33.
It would be great to find out that he never wrote a lyric.
Right.
there.
Just bullshit.
He just alternates between words that kind of sound like they fit there.
Or like the Beatles did, like they would record it with two different words at the same time because they couldn't decide.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, fuck it. Like, fuck it. Jesus Christ, there's a lot to talk about.
Oh, is there ever? What a week.
I mean, we've wasted a good 20 minutes here, people. I'm guessing it's about 20 minutes.
Well,
Talking about bullshit when
First
there's been
off-
a lot going on.
I feel like we need to reiterate today is July 21st.
Yeah, because something's going to happen right now.
July 22nd, late July 21st. There's 9 things that have happened today.
Right. Who the hell knows what's going to happen tomorrow?
No.
Or like right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now, they're already firing the new guy that replaced Sean Spicer.
Right there. My God. It happened.
Okay.
He resigned.
So, I don't know if you've quit a job. I know you've quit a job.
Yeah, I quit a hotel one time. It sucked.
But like quitting, like after you quit, there's like a release, like you feel good because you're like, I don't have to do that anymore. Hey, how do you think Sean Spicer is feeling right this second? Like after 6 months of
Has it
nonsense.
only been 6 months?
It's only been 6 months.
Good God. Oh, that hurts.
How do you think he is feeling? Knowing, hey, I never have to go out there again.
I think he's in his bush right now. And I think...
Does he get to go back to the bush?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, he's not.
Well, no.
It's on property.
Look, he can take his bush with him wherever he goes.
Oh, was
now.
that his
His bush is
personal bush?
inside. Yeah. His Dow is the bush. He's got it. And he's got Kellyanne's toes in his mouth. I'm just saying. I mean, look, I would if I was there. I don't have a thing for feet, but something about Kellyanne Conway's feet. I don't know. I just want them in my mouth. Anyway, I'm going to edit that out. Probably not. Because the laziness.
No, you're definitely not going to edit that out.
I've embarrassed myself a few times in my life. 94 of them have been on this show.
Hi, Justin's mom.
Hey.
Your son loves Kellyanne Conway's toes.
She's the only one, though. No other women's toes. Or men's toes, for that matter.
Yeah, you should probably just go with toes.
Mom, I'm not gay.
For toes. Specifically toes.
Maybe I'm gay for toes. Just a little bit. Anyway, so Sean Spicer is in a bush.
Yeah.
He has a loincloth on.
First off, background for anyone who wasn't paying attention. Today, early in the morning, Donald Trump went, I'm going to appoint a hedge fund manager to be in charge of my communications.
Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right.
The first person you want in charge of your communications is a hedge fund manager that used to work at Goldman Sachs.
Oh boy, that doesn't sound rife with fucking problems.
So that's a great idea to begin with. So according to multiple people,
right,
Sean Spicer then quit because he went, wait, the guy you appointed is what? I'm going to end up having to do both jobs. I don't think so.
Right.
And so
peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm done.
Even Sean Spicer, like that's the limit for Sean Spicer.
Right. 100%.
Sean Spicer is willing to lie for you for months on end. But if you make him lie for 2 jobs worth of your nonsense, he's out.
At that point,
done.
he's reached his limit, and he is piecing.
So then he resigned.
Right.
And then Sarah Huckabee Sanders is now taking over his job.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
So we got more Huckleberry time.
Oh, man.
Oh, boy.
I'll tell you what. I am all about Huckleberry time.
Oh man, I never thought when Sean Spicer started doing those press briefings,
Right.
that there would be a person who made me go, you know, who's kind of well spoken, Sean Spicer.
Oh,
But darn it, if they didn't find the one.
Oh, that guy. And that's just the tip of the iceberg this week.
That's just today.
That is just
And
today.
it's so minor compared to everything else. It's just the latest.
It is indeed their latest. I mean, so here's what I have. And look, everyone can guess where this comes from, right?
Okay.
Everyone can guess where this comes from. It comes from the Washington Post.
Oh, what?
But I will tell you right now, in the flesh, the $9.99. Why they can't just charge me $10? I don't fucking know. It would make the math in my checkbook a lot easier.
I can tell you why.
Why?
Because according to studies, people are more willing to pay $9.99 than $10. You know why? People is dumb.
I like even numbers though.
I do too.
Right?
And the thing is, I'm sure there are a lot of people like me who see $9.99 and go, "Oh, it's $10." Okay.
That's what I do. I feel like that was a strategy worked out in like the 50s.
Yeah. You know
Anyway.
what? Before you start this,
Okay.
I'm going to challenge you.
Challenge me.
For the next podcast,
Okay.
I want you to get all of your news
Okay.
from Fox News.
I'll do that.
I want everything coming from Fox News.
It's going to be tough.
You're going to come in here going, "Did you hear what the Democrats did?"
You're going to get a lot of angry texts from me this week. I'm going to be fuming. If you're my father-in-law right now, you're very worried about Venezuela for some goddamn reason.
Well, I mean, it's
even though our own country is falling apart. I guess that's socialism. I guess it just doesn't work all that well. It's funny though. We have an entire party who's not dedicated to socialism. Just, a little bit of that mixed in with our regular old democracy. It's horrible what's happening in Venezuela.
It is bad.
But it's hard to get a daily text from your father-in-law telling you how bad it is because it's a socialist country. It's a little tough.
Do you want my tip?
Give it to me.
Right here?
Yeah.
Next text message.
Yeah.
Give me the typical text message.
I'll find one.
Okay. And I will tell you the appropriate response. It's very simple.
Okay.
Go. So whenever you have one pulled up,
Maduro getting ready to, excuse me, I'm giving him better grammar than he gave.
Okay.
Maduro getting ready for rewrite of Venezuela's constitution against the will of the people. There's a lot of full stops in there.
okay, is that the end of it?
Well, it's a link to something on Yahoo News.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So your response then is, new phone, who dis?
Here's the one I got before that. Extreme socialism in Venezuela. Stop. This is not what the people expected to happen when they voted for socialism several years ago. Stop. Oh, that's from Reuters. Good for you, Barry.
Reuters?
I mean, Yahoo, then Reuters. All right. I take it back.
Reuters is an actual news source.
This news about how the North Korean people are treated made me sick, basically being sold for slave labor to Russia and China. Okay, well, I'm kind of with that. Oh, it's a Google search from Fox News. Interesting.
Okay.
Well,
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I can't disagree with anything he said there. It is all bad.
But it's the pattern,
Yeah.
Nathan.
It is interesting to see people go, this is all really, really bad. You know it's great? Getting rid of health care.
Right.
Let's just get rid of that.
Let's just let it get fucked and get it out. And he's a smart guy, and we have great discussions. It's just like when he goes home, he like gravitates back to what he normally does, which is text me shit about Venezuela.
Yeah.
Or for years about how we need to arm the Israeli people.
Well, that. By the way, today I heard this on the news. There's like a huge fight in, of course, the West Bank.
Right.
Because the Palestinians are killing just random Jews
Oh,
now
God.
again.
Oh, that's not good.
And the Jews have just been going into Palestinian homes and stabbing people.
That sounds great.
And then the Palestinian leader has said he's cut off all contact with the Jewish leadership. My question here is, hey, Kushner. How's that whole peace in the Middle East thing you're in charge of going? You got that going yet?
He is heading that up.
He's doing a real good job.
mean, maybe he'll talk about that. Pardon the hard turn here. Maybe he'll talk about that on Monday when Jared Kushner is set to testify before the Senate Intelligence Panel. That's all I want to say about that. You should watch that shit as it happens because 1 million people will be broadcasting it live on the YouTubes.
You should, or I can just act it out for you right now.
Let's do that. Who am I in this scenario?
You can. I'll be Kushner.
Okay, you be Kushner.
You can ask me any question you want.
Can I be a really angry senator?
Yeah,
Okay,
go ahead.
Great. Mr. Kushner.
Oh, you sound like a gassy senator.
I'm uncomfortable. I'm very uncomfortable. I've been here all day. Mr. Kushner, I've been here all day.
Yes.
Let's let it all hang out. But first of all, I want to thank you for your service.
I'm not sure what I did to deserve that, but okay, thank you.
Our country.
Thank you.
I'm a Republican senator.
By the way, I should, and I know for accuracy's sake, because I don't think Jared Kushner actually speaks, I should just be nodding or shaking my head.
Yeah.
But this is a podcast. People wouldn't understand.
Well, he is an automaton.
So I'm going to interpret his nods
Great.
and hand gestures.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a voice. I've never heard the man speak.
Neither have I, actually.
That's weird.
So, when you were in that meeting, that very run-of-the-mill meeting with those Russian folks.
Yes. We were talking about adoption.
Yeah, well, I heard about that.
Adoption. Adoption.
How many children are you going to adopt?
9. Adoption.
Was that 9 or niet?
9.
It sounded like niet.
Adoption. I plead the 5th.
I think I have
And that's pretty much how all of them will go.
I have a sympathetic brain tumor right now. Oh, John McCain.
No.
You know,
By the way, how did we not talk about that?
I know. I'm glad we got to it. That was the other thing. Look,
Should we wrap up with Kushner and then talk about McCain?
let's wrap up the Kush. Let's smoke it. And then let's talk about
in addition,
John McCain.
This was an alert that I received from that failing news source CNN.
Oh, I thought you were
today
going to
on
say
the
New
way
York
here.
Times. Yeah.
No, not the failing New York Times. The fake news.
They are failing.
You know
Yeah.
the fake news.
Oh, I'm all about fake news.
Yeah, fake news.
Yeah, it's all I follow.
The fake news was letting me know that Jared Kushner has filed a new financial disclosure form
Ruh-roh.
showing how much money he is worth, which is it was somewhere in the neighborhood of $800 million.
Oh, that sounds fun.
So
Great.
that will probably come up as
Monday.
to why there's not more detail in the financial disclosure form, because I'm assuming there's not enough.
Right.
I just assume. I haven't read the article yet.
Again, I'm into this whole primary source thing, so I pay for the Washington Post, but you don't have to stream things on their website. So they, I'm sure, will be streaming the hearing live
every place
on their
will
website,
be.
and so will everywhere
CNN
else.
will.
Yeah.
CNN.
Even Fox News.
CNN streamed all of the other congressional,
Yeah.
like even the hearings where they were trying to nominate people.
Right.
They were streaming
Cabinet
those.
positions.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah.
Betsy DeVos was on CNN.
Right.
Which that was real fun. It's like it was a bunch of nonsense, and then Al Franken making her look stupid, and then we're like, we're done. Let's put her in.
Here's my first headline. You ready?
Yeah,
oh,
go
wait.
ahead.
We were going to talk about McCain. Let's talk about McCain. So John McCain, it's funny because I'm sure he and I would not agree on much, but he's that old school kind of senator. He's the kind of senator you read about in U.S. history class.
Yes.
He's the...
Which you will, by the way,
Oh.
in the future read extensively about
if you're
John McCain.
listening to this in 2045,
Yeah.
you're going to read about John McCain.
And I don't care how you feel about his politics.
Right.
John McCain's a good person to have in the Senate.
He is a great person because he like the Cotton Mathers. Where the fuck did that come from?
Wow.
Like the Cotton Mathers and the Henry Clays. Jesus Christ. Mr. Becker, you did a great job in 10th grade. I still remember this shit. Wow. Like the Henry and my friend Daniel, who doesn't listen to the show, he and I used to write little songs and things and skits and things about history class. So thank you, Daniel.
Sounds like an entire Sufjan Stevens album right there.
Well, it was before it was.
You should have beaten him to the whole obnoxious themed indie folk album idea.
Fuck that guy, because I expected 48
I know.
more albums about states, and I knew at some point he would get to Georgia.
Yeah.
I figured he'd do the 13 colonies at some point, one of which was Georgia.
We've digressed.
Yeah, we've digressed. John McCain is like the Henry Clays, the great compromisers of the past.
Yeah.
He's a guy who is interested in the government functioning.
He's a greater good.
He's a greater
senator.
good. Yes.
And you may disagree with literally every
Everything.
political viewpoint he has.
As I do with most, yes.
But he's not the Tea Party.
He's not.
Who's there to just say no
Right.
about everything.
And on the flip side, he's not whatever the liberal coefficient of that is, right? Like he's
the Latte Party?
I guess.
We'll go Latte Party.
Let's go with that.
Yeah.
John McCain is what senators are supposed to be like. And he's earned a name for himself. And I think that's why he and one Lindsey Graham get along so well, because they both have that independent mindset. They're not independents. They don't register that way.
No, they're definitely conservative.
They're definitely conservatives. They're definitely Republicans. However, they are willing to fight about issues they care about. They're not just doing the pony show that is Congress most of the time, right?
Well, and I was pointing this out when the whole news broke about John McCain
And his brain tumor.
his brain tumor.
Yeah.
Surprise brain tumor.
It's not a good
It's
brain
the
tumor.
worst surprise brain
It's-
tumor.
Well, they're all bad. But
right,
yeah.
but this is like the worst one.
Yeah.
Like they went brain surgery. This is going to be rough. Right. Oh, worse.
He goes in for a blood clot above his eye, and he comes out with and it's not like I was reading about this today. It's not like a lump. It's more like a net.
Well, it's
kind of situation.
It's
not
the
good.
same thing that got Ted Kennedy
same
and Joe
thing
Biden, or not Joe Biden, Bo Biden.
Bo Biden, yeah.
Joe Biden's son. Right. Joe Biden's still alive. No one get concerned.
Right. Well, and no one can kill Joe Biden.
Right.
Time is the only thing that will kill Joe Biden.
And even then, it's going to be a fight.
While.
It's going to be a fight.
I love that guy. I really do.
But yeah, I was pointing out, like, I don't agree with McCain on a lot of things.
No.
Particularly, like, how important the military funding is, things like that.
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
But I also know I don't have the same background.
No. You have nothing.
Not anywhere near the same background.
Zero.
I have been a prisoner of war 0 times.
Right.
If it was possible to be a prisoner of war negative times, I would be there.
Yeah, absolutely. Same for me.
So,
yeah.
As far as military spending, I don't agree with it, but I also can't say he's wrong because I don't know.
Right.
He definitely knows better.
Exactly.
And so in that area where he and I do not agree, he's fighting for his very strong personal beliefs based on life experience.
Exactly.
And I'm fighting for it based on I don't like it, don't do it anymore.
Right.
Schools are important.
Let's talk about that. Yes, exactly that. And you know, it was sad because, and I think we even probably made fun of it a little bit. Back during the Comey testimony, John McCain was slipping.
Yeah.
And it makes you think that, I mean, no one's come out and said this that I know of, but it makes you think that probably it had something to do with the brain tumor.
I have heard a couple doctors speculate it could have something to do with it.
It is on...
Which makes me really sad because I loved his explanation.
Well, I know.
I loved that I had stayed up too late watching the Diamondbacks.
Right, that's right.
It warms the cockles of my heart.
Well, it should.
Type of
yes.
answer.
No, absolutely. I mean, look, again, That's the kind of thing you like about this guy. That's the kind of
Yeah,
thing
he loves
you
the
like about him.
Diamondbacks.
I mean, he just stayed up too late watching that, whatever sport that is.
Baseball.
Thanks.
Arizona Diamondbacks.
I really didn't know. So, hard news.
They play in the National League West.
I
you
got
need
my
to.
fuchsia highlighter out today.
Ooh, fuchsia.
Well, it's not even a highlighter. It's a pen.
That I'm less excited then.
Well, the things that I commit are more definite with my fuchsia pen.
Okay.
It's called a flare. Just so you know. I found it.
So you print off the WAPO,
I print off the WAPO.
and then you flare it up.
I flared up.
You treat your printed off copies of the WAPO like a middle-aged woman treats anything she bedazzles.
There's a very real possibility that I might become a middle-aged woman.
I've been waiting.
Okay, good. All right. Trump team seeks... Whoa, I can barely talk today. Trump team seeks to control / block Mueller's Russia investigation. This is a long report. Carol Lenning, Ashley Parker, Rosalind Helderman, and Tom Hamburger. Again, Mr. Tom Hamburger. I am glad to see that it's mostly a female team, though. Contributing to this report, so I have just dotted a few important things. I'm going to read a little bit of this to you. Some of President Trump's lawyers are exploring ways to limit or undercut special counsel Robert S. Mueller III's Russia investigation, building a case against what they allege are his conflicts of interest and discussing the president's authority to grant pardons, according to people familiar with the effort.
Ah, yes, the pardons.
Trump is trying to find conflicts of interest within Mueller and his legal team in order to discredit him.
You know what their biggest argument is at this point?
Hit me.
Part of his team, they've donated to Democrats.
Right.
That's it. I mean, that's literally all of it.
There was a dispute about a golf club membership. I mean,
it's ridiculous.
Wowzers.
And the seeking pardons, by the way.
Oh, we're getting there.
Oh, are we going to
We're
talk?
getting there.
Okay, go on. We'll talk about this.
Let me read you my fuchsia dots here.
Give me the dots.
My flare. Trump has asked his advisors about his power to pardon aides, family members, and even himself in connection with the probe, according to one of those people. A second person said Trump's lawyers have been discussing the president's pardoning powers among themselves. With the Russia investigation continuing to widen, Trump's lawyers are working to corral the probe and question the propriety of the special counsel's work. Bob Mueller is a special counsel. They are actively compiling a list of Mueller's alleged potential conflicts of interest, which they say could serve as a way to stymie his work, according to several of Trump's legal advisors. Other advisors said the president is also irritated by the notion that Mueller's probe could reach into his and his family's finances. Jesus, I wonder why. I'm really asking Jesus, if you could speak right now, can you tell us why? Because I think I know why, but you could probably confirm it with your superpowers. Trump has been fuming about the probe in recent weeks as he has been informed about the legal questions that he and his family could face. His primary frustration centers on why allegations that his campaign coordinated with Russia should spread into scrutinizing many years of Trump's deal-making. This is where my dot comes in. He has told aides he was especially disturbed after learning Mueller would be able to access several years of his tax returns. All presidents...
Man!
Yeah.
That dude loves people not knowing about his tax returns. It's like his number one thing in life.
By the way, all presidents since Jimmy Carter have released their tax returns. That was in the goddamn 70s, guys. There was a gas crisis then. That's all I know about the 70s.
Bee Gees, right?
Well, that. Mueller is scrutinizing some of Trump's business dealings, including with a Russian oligarch who purchased a Palm Beach mansion from Trump for $95 million in 2008. The president has long called the FBI investigation into his campaign's possible coordination with the Russians a quote-unquote witch hunt, but now Trump is coming face-to-face with a powerful investigative team that is able to study evidence of any crime it encounters in the probe. That includes, Nathan, tax fraud, lying to federal agents, and interference in the investigation. I'm slurry. I'm sorry. I haven't eaten a lot, but I have had beer. This is Kinstar times 1,000, said one lawyer involved in the case, referring to the independent counsel who oversaw an investigation that eventually led to the House impeachment proceedings against President Bill Clinton. Of course, this is in quotes, it's going to go into his finances. A couple more things here. Another Republican in touch with the administration described the public steps as a part of a broader effort aimed at laying the groundwork to fire Mueller. Can you imagine a scenario?
I honestly, I don't think even Trump is so delusional that he would think he can get away with that one.
Here's the thing. You know how Mr. Trump came out against Jeff Sessions this week?
Yeah.
Jeff Sessions is the guy who could fire Bob Mueller.
Well, but there's also the chance that it's laying groundwork here. Because if Mr. Donald Trump decided he didn't like Jeff Sessions anymore, I don't know, like while speaking to the failing New York Times, if I'm throwing this out there, I mean like just spitballing, in the middle of an interview with the failing New York Times.
Spitball away.
You know, the New York Times that's failing?
Yeah,
that we don't believe he did an interview with them.
Again?
You know he did that interview?
There've been a few.
This week, he did the interview with the failing New York Times.
Got it.
You know, the New York Times, it's anyway. I just would like to point that out a few more times here.
That they're failing.
Yeah, and that he went there, despite the fact that they're failing miserably failing. The worst ever. Worst ever.
You know, he goes to New York just so he can see Melania. He needs an excuse.
And by see, like, from a distance.
Right.
Because she's not getting that close.
From the ground floor of Trump Tower. That's how close he can get to Melania.
So, coming out and speaking against Jeff Sessions.
Yes.
There's the possibility it's laying the groundwork for firing Jeff Sessions.
Right.
And appointing a different person who will then go, hey, Robert Mueller, no.
We're going to let you go.
You know who'd be a really good independent investigator? Chris Christie. No, they've made him mad, right? He can't be.
I don't know who they haven't made mad anymore.
Let's see.
I mean, it's really falling
Paul
apart.
Manafort, I mean, he could come back. He could
investigate himself.
Man, that's the comeback of the century right there.
Batting 0 for 4. I don't know about sports. Paul Manafort. Currently, the discussions of pardoning authority by Trump's legal team are purely theoretical, according to two people familiar with the ongoing conversations.
Which, by the way, that's a theoretical conversation every president, I'm sure, has.
Yeah.
I'm sure Obama, when he walked into the White House, is like, so hey, let's say my family did something. I don't know. Just something really bad. Could I pardon them? Just wondering. No reason. Well, see you later.
Let's say Michelle has a few skeletons in the closet. No literal skeletons.
Yeah. I can pardon all that. That's good. Goodbye.
I would never accuse Michelle of that. I love her.
No. I mean, if anything...
She's a beautiful person. It's Sasha.
If anything, it's skeletons of people who deserved... Like, if she were a murderer, it would be like a Dexter type of thing, where it's like, well, that person's a terrible human being. She's taking them out and bettering mankind.
No, they didn't need enough vegetables. That's the thing. I mean...
Michelle Obama didn't kill anyone. Before Phil Valentine starts... I heard it on a podcast.
He reviewed us on iTunes, just like you should. But if Trump pardoned himself in the face of the ongoing Mueller investigation, that would set off a legal and political firestorm. First, around the question of whether a president can use the constitutional pardon power in that way. This is in quotes. This is a fiercely debated but unresolved legal question, said Brian C. Kalt, a constitutional law expert at Michigan State University. The power to pardon is granted to the president in Article 2, Section 2 of the Constitution, which gives the commander-in-chief the power to, quote, grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the United States, except in cases of impeachment. That means pardon authority extends to federal criminal prosecution, but not to state level or impeachment inquiries. No president has sought to pardon himself. I feel like that needs to be said. So no courts have reviewed it because it hasn't been fucking necessary to review.
Well, let's get ready, folks.
Although Colt says the weight of the law argues against a president pardoning himself, he says the question is open and predicts such an action would move through the courts all the way to the Supreme Court, one would hope. There is no predicting what would happen, said Colt. Some note that the Constitution does not explicitly prohibit a president from pardoning himself. On the other side, experts say that by definition, a pardon is something you can only give to someone else. There is also a common law canon that prohibits individuals from serving as a judge in their own case. For example, we would not allow a judge to preside over his or her own trial, Colt said. A president can pardon an individual at any point, including before the person is charged with a crime. That was fascinating to me. You can be pardoned before you fucking did anything that we know of.
Well, can I tell you what I heard on the radio?
Tell me.
And I don't know the details about
All
this. Right. This is from NPR.
Okay.
In case you need me to cite the source.
Is that National Public Radio?
I mean, something like that.
Something, yeah.
Talking about if you were to pardon someone before any crime was uncovered.
Right.
Somehow they were saying that would cause them to waive their Fifth Amendment, right?
Oh, okay. All right.
Which means that they can still be investigated.
Yes.
And they can still be subpoenaed and called in front of Congress, but they can't go without answering anything?
Yes.
So I don't know how bad Trump's legal team is.
Pretty bad.
I'm assuming it's actually pretty good.
Well, yeah,
because
he's
has
got
not
the money.
spent any time in prison.
That's true.
Not 1 second in prison
There's
in his
quite
life.
a few occurrences that he should have, probably, yeah.
But I would assume they would be advising him, hey, maybe don't do that. Kushner has a few things he could maybe say that wouldn't be good.
Right.
I don't know.
Let's let this all wash out for a second, T.
So, continue on.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. I was saying how a president can pardon an individual at any point, even before they were charged with something. And the scope of the presidential pardon can be very broad. For example, President Gerald Ford pardoned former President Richard Nixon preemptively for offenses he, quote, committed or may have committed while in office. I did not realize that until today.
It's really cool.
That was shocking.
Don't you love that that's an option, by the way?
Yeah.
Just go, nah, we're just going to ignore all that. It's fine.
Can I just say quickly, I really hope that post-President Trump, whatever happens, he's not going to be president forever.
That's true.
I think.
Well, I mean, he'll die eventually.
Yeah, eventually he'll die. And then we'll be faced with Barron. Whatever happens, because he will ostensibly have killed his brothers and sisters.
Well, not Tiffany. He doesn't have to kill Tiffany. Tiffany's not in the running.
They send her to the same island that they send Napoleon to.
Do you think Tiffany feels left out? That there's no chance that she's going to have to testify in front of Congress?
No, not at all. I think she's fine with it. I think she's good. Her Instagram is very active. What the fuck was I saying? Eventually... Shit, I don't know anymore. Okay, fine. Positive news.
Yeah, let's do something happy.
I got a few
here.
things. Another headline: Durbin and Graham file Dream Act, hoping to ward off legal challenge to DACA. That is that's basically the thing that keeps kids here who came here as immigrants. Senator Richard Durbin, better known as Dick, a Democrat from Illinois, and Senator Lindsey Graham, Republican from South Carolina, another one of our favorite Republican senators for the most part, introduced the DREAM Act legislation that would grant permanent legal status to more than 1 million young people who arrived in the United States before they turned 18, passed security checks, and met other criteria, including enrolling in college, joining the military, or finding jobs. I am hoping we can find a pathway forward with President Trump, Graham said at a news conference. Wouldn't it be ironic if the man who started his campaign talking about illegal immigration in a very tough way would be the man who started the country on a path towards solving the problem? That's what I like about Lindsey Graham right there. As we all know, Trump blasted Obama's Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. That's DACA, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, saying it was wrong to bypass Congress and give deportation protection. Here we go. Late Thursday, 20 state attorneys general, led by California's Xavier Becerra, urged Trump to preserve DACA, saying it had been a boon to the economy by allowing students to study and work, becoming soldiers, nurses, church leaders, and more. The consequences of rescinding DACA would be severe, not just for the hundreds of thousands of young people who would rely on the program and for their employers, schools, universities, and families, but for the country's economy as a whole, the attorneys general said in the letter. And as the chief law officers of our respective states, we strongly believe that DACA has made our communities safer, enabling these young people to report crimes to police without fear of deportation. Graham, who actually criticized Obama's decision to pass and create DACA, said passing a law would avoid the need to have a program survive a court challenge. The best way to do it is for Congress and the administration to work together and pass a law, not an executive order, Graham said.
Yes.
Attorney General now, Jeff Sessions, in his confirmation hearing said, exactly. The Justice Department declined to comment on Thursday. Graham said the United States faces a moment of reckoning. This is what he said. To President Trump, you're going to have to make a decision. The campaign is over. To the Republican Party, who are we? What do we believe? When they write the history of these times, I'm going to be with these kids.
Wow.
Pretty fucking good, right?
Wow.
Pretty fucking good. So thanks, Senators Durbin and Lindsey Graham. We appreciate you.
I do feel like I'm going to turn up the positive knob here.
Let's do it.
Watching news in the last week.
Yeah.
I do feel like out of all of the nonsense that's happening here,
Yes.
there has been at least an effort by people on both sides of the aisle to go, hey, you know, it'd be great. Like, what if we just, like, talk to each other? Figured things out. It's a little refreshing, which is sad. It's sad that it's refreshing.
Right. It should be run of the mill and boring.
When I hear about a Democrat and a Republican being in the same room talking to each other, I shouldn't go, wow, really? I saw a news story earlier this week, and I can't remember which senator it was. It was a Democrat senator who was putting together a bipartisan group to just discuss healthcare.
Yeah.
Just one night, get together, talk about healthcare. And I heard that, and my gut reaction was, that's a great idea. I shouldn't be reacting that way.
No, you shouldn't be, because it should be common practice.
I should hear that and go, yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Not in, complete befuddlement that it's even an idea someone had.
Right. I mean, it was terrible how it came to light, but we were all pretty refreshed to hear that they play baseball together? What?
Yeah. I mean, it's bad that,
Right.
Dude got shot.
Federal ethics chief who clashed with White House announces he will step down. This is a guy named Walter M. Shaub Jr., who repeatedly challenged the Trump administration, publicly urging President Trump to fully divest from his business empire and chastising a senior Trump advisor for violating ethics rules. Apparently, that office, the Office of Government Ethics, does not have much enforcement power, but boy, can they get snarky.
Oh, yeah.
Up on the tweets.
Well, that's pretty much their entire power is snark.
Right. This guy is a righteous guy, the Shaub. He's a righteous guy. Apparently, he drafted these tweets himself and then told people to send them out. At Real Donald Trump, OGE, Office of Government Ethics. This is when he at the beginning, right? OGE is delighted that you've decided to divest your businesses. Right decision. They're mocking the way that he tweets.
Right.
At Real Donald Trump, OGE applauds the total, in quotes, divestiture decision. Bravo! I love it. Trump, in fact, made no such decision. The tweets appear designed to use Trump's own tactics of praise and flattery to urge him to do so. Internal OGE emails later released through public information requests showed that Shaub himself had drafted the notes and directed that they be sent. He is going on, Mr. Shaub is going on to work at the Campaign Legal Center, where he will hopefully be able to do more because he's been rather stymied in his position.
That the whole flattery idea might have worked.
Right.
Had Donald Trump not read that and then spent the next hour just asking everyone what ethics meant.
Right.
What is this OGE thing?
OG.
Ethics? Ethics?
What is this, Greek? The only Greek word I know is tabbouleh. I love it. I eat a lot of it.
So much tabbouleh. Best tabbouleh in the world, Greece.
It's right here in Trump Tower. This is from the, I will say, this is from the opinion pages. This is by a guy named Joel Clement. He was a director of the Office of Policy Analysis at the U.S. Interior Department until last week. He is now a senior advisor at the department's Office of Natural Resources Revenue. The headline is, I'm a scientist, full stop. I'm blowing the whistle on the Trump administration. He says here at the beginning, I am not a member of the deep state. I am not big government. I am a scientist, a policy expert, a civil servant, and a worried citizen. Reluctantly, as of today, I am also a whistleblower on an administration that chooses silence over science. I underlined that because when I went to the science march, everyone was saying, silence, not silence. It was hard to say.
That's good rhyming.
It's a lot of consonants.
Do you think what percentage do you think accidentally got that mixed up when they were chanting it?
Oh, well, at least this percentage.
Silence, not silence. Oh.
It was nothing, it was great, but it wasn't the Women's March. I think I said the Women's March was really powerful.
Well, I mean, it's a bunch of science guys. They're not.
And gals.
Well,
but yeah, people.
But you know what I'm saying here.
They're introverted.
The marching, it's less outgoing for sure.
Right. Basically, what happened to this guy is a climate expert. He's been working a lot with native Alaskan communities. Climate change is happening at twice the rate for them as it is for us. Mm-hmm. Their land is literally melting away where they live.
Right.
It's an issue. All right?
Well, I mean,
yeah, read this.
Is it an issue, though?
It's an issue.
Well, the thing is, though, it's not really happening, so it can't really be an issue.
Oh,
right?
well, there's that. The Trump administration reassigned this guy from his post where he is an expert in the field to, hang on, I just have to read this to you. I know I've been reading a lot, but just let me read this to you. Nearly 7 years ago, I came to work for the Interior Department where, among other things, I've helped endangered communities in Alaska prepare for and adapt to a changing climate. But on June 15th, that's this June 15th,
yeah,
I was one of about 50 senior department employees who received letters informing us of involuntary reassignments, citing a need to improve talent development, mission delivery, and collaboration. That sounds like bullshit. The letter informed me that I was reassigned to an unrelated job in the accounting office that collects royalty checks from fossil fuel companies. Wowzers. He goes on to say, next paragraph, I am not an accountant. But you don't have to be one to see that the administration's excuse for a reassignment such as mine doesn't add up. His basic argument is, hey, they stuck a bunch of us because we were being vocal. They stuck a bunch of us in jobs that are not what we were qualified for in an effort to push us out.
I'm going to take a second here
Yeah.
to defend the Trump administration.
Okay.
Because I know it seems like they were reassigning him because of that.
Yeah.
But I think we've seen, like Rick Perry
Yeah.
with his job, assigning a hedge fund manager to be the director of communications.
Sounds great.
I think it's part of their strategy that people shouldn't do things that they know how to do.
Yeah.
So he's not an accountant. They went, who's perfect to do accounting? Why, of course, someone with no accounting experience whatsoever. Perfect. Send him.
Fresh ideas.
He's going to go in there, going to shake things up. Drain the swamp. That swamp, it's so drained. Nothing left in the swamp.
You know,
It's a desert now.
that's what I was going to say.
Desert swamp.
Yeah. They've turned Washington from a swamp into a desert. There are tumbleweeds flowing through the halls of justice right now.
The metaphor I was going with earlier today was they've drained the swamp, but the issue is all it did was leave just the swamp critters there. Like there's no water diluting the swamp critters. It's just the swamp critters.
It's a lot of bacteria. A whole lot. Here's my last headline for today.
Okay.
This will be in replace of your quick hits.
No quick hits.
This is my last headline from the Washington Post in the To Your Health section. Coffee with Viagra-like ingredient recalled after FDA discovery. Can I
Wait.
unpack that for you?
They recalled my coffee?
Apparently they did, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Are you suffering from erectile dysfunction? It's okay if you are. We're all suffering from something. Albert Yee said the coffee is everywhere you look in the densely packed vendor stalls along avenues in Malaysian cities. An instant mix with a natural ingredient similar to what's found in Viagra that helps men with erectile dysfunction. And Yee wanted a piece of the action. There are whole streets of it, like tequila in Mexico, Yee told the Washington Post by phone Thursday, describing how his one-man Texas import business is now at the center of a nationwide voluntary recall coordinated by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Wait, hold on.
Uh-huh.
He led off this story by defending himself by saying, look, there's a lot of it in a country that has virtually no regulations.
On anything. In a country that is oppressing an entire population right now. The FDA announced last week that Yee's company, based in Grand Prairie, Texas, which is called Best Herbs Coffee LLC, is voluntarily recalling all lots of the uniquely spelled New of Kopi Jantan Tradicional natural herbs coffee due to undeclared ingredients, including dimethyl, carabinafil, and milk.
Wait, what was it?
He's been selling this for 3 years, by the way.
It took this long?
Uh-huh. That chemical compound I just mentioned that I can't pronounce is structurally similar to what is in Viagra, which is called sildenafil. The undeclared ingredient may interact with nitrates found in some prescription drugs, such as nitroglycerin, and may lower blood pressure to dangerous levels, the FDA said. Yee said he was not sure how much coffee was involved in the recall, but estimates he'll receive a few hundred to 1,000 bags from customers that he will then hand over to the FDA to be destroyed. It will be the FDA's latest, keyword, recall involving coffee laced with the ingredient.
Why is this a problem?
Another company called Stiff Bull Herbal Coffee.
Yes!
It was all leading up to that, to
Yes!
be honest. Faced a similar recall last year as did the sellers of Caverlo Natural Herbal Coffee in May. In both instances, the sellers advised the inclusion of Tongat Ali, the root of a tree found in Malaysian rainforests, and distilled to pill form or concentrated and mixed with coffee or tea. In 2014, ABC News sent a reporter into the bush to scout for the root, which can only be extracted with tools to partially topple the tree, making the root particularly difficult to harvest for mass production. The producers of Stiff Bull Herbal Coffee claimed the coffee sellers mixed in the chemical compound to cut down on high costs of the root, raising the possibility the same thing happened with yeast coffee. Ong Boon Keen, a senior researcher at the Forest Research Institute in Malaysia, told ABC that Tongat Ali can boost low testosterone and sperm count.
Oh.
So you should be chewing on trees. Yi said the recall has made his next business decision easy. I'm 60.
Oh, boy. All right.
This is a quick hit.
Okay.
What is Albert Yee's next business decision?
All right, so Boner Coffee's out.
Boner Coffee is out.
No more of that. He's learned his lesson.
Yep.
Nothing else from Malaysia.
Uh-huh.
I feel like he's just going to start like an import-export business of just like Chinese indentured servants.
That's probably right. Yeah. Something involved.
They're everywhere. I don't get it anymore.
I go to China, all I see is indentured servants.
I don't know what's good or bad. I don't get it.
He actually said, I'm 67. I'm going to retire.
That's a good move.
His last move in life was Boner Coffee. Boner Coffee from Malaysia.
I wonder how much of his retirement fund he has now lost by having to turn over all his Boner Coffee.
It all depends on how much of that was managed by the new guy managing communications in the Trump administration.
Well, I mean, he hasn't been paying any attention to that. He's busy learning what communications are.
Well, Rick Perry has his energy. I have my communications.
Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, that's the tactic they've taken.
It is the tactic they've taken.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders,
Doesn't know
what
how to
business
talk.
does she have being the person who speaks for the president? I mean, she's spoken a couple times in life. Is that good enough? I guess. I don't. It does. Jared Kushner is in charge of everything.
Everything.
What is he good at? Using his family's money. That's not a viable skill in the government.
I mean, I've been feeling like it's been falling apart for a while, but don't you think it's really starting to fall apart?
It's gotten to an extra crazy level.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
right now, I like to relate the administration to a TV show.
Okay.
Because I feel like so far the writing has been to the level that someone would go, hey, this is kind of just a bad ripoff of House of Cards. I don't really necessarily believe anything that's happening in this storyline.
Uh-huh.
I feel like now we've reached that point, like, you know how TV shows season 4
Right.
season 4 or 5, you're like, okay, it's just not quite what it was
Right.
during season 2 or 3.
Sure.
The
sure.
fresh ideas are gone.
Sure.
And then they get desperate. And so the desperation is like, no one's paying attention to us. Sean Spicer resigns. No. No.
So right now we're at the end of season 2. This
Yeah.
is kind of what you're saying.
I don't, it's just getting out of hand.
It's getting out of hand. It's getting out of hand.
By the way, while we were doing this, the breaking news came through
Oh, God.
that Paul Manafort and Donnie Jr.,
Yes.
Don, as I'm
Dun,
going to call him.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah, it makes him a little more adorable. If they're going to talk about how he's a good boy, even though he's late 30s, I get to give him a nickname that makes him sound like a 3-year-old.
It's one.
Don.
It's one.
Don.
I like it.
They have made a deal where they will not have to speak in open session of Congress.
Oh.
I have not read what the deal is. I can only assume that they're both going to turn on Trump.
In a hard way.
Wouldn't that be great?
It would
if
be
Don
great.
Don is what brought the whole thing down.
Yeah. Yeah, is he...
Which I feel like there's a possibility. I was listening to him speak. I saw a clip of his interview with Hannity after he released his own emails like a lunatic.
Right, yes. Yes.
And I realized something. He's like his dad in the sense that he can't stop talking. But he's unlike his dad in the sense that he's not smart enough to distract from his actual message. Like he's his dad without the savvy.
He's just saying what happened.
Yeah. like Trump would say, "Yeah, so I met with him, but you know what? Blah 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 blah." Don Don, it's just like, "I met with the guy. It was adoptions. The Russian lawyer didn't know she was a lawyer. I knew it. No."
Do you feel like he gave half the wisdom to Donald Jr. and half to Eric?
No, that's ridiculous.
Okay.
Have you seen Eric? He gave half to Don Don and none to Eric.
He gave the rest to himself.
The rest is
Yeah.
Barron. Barron's plot, I'm telling you, Barron's going to be the mastermind behind the whole thing.
Barron got it all in an email, by the way.
It's going to come back that Barron is the one who hacked into the DNC servers. The whole time Trump was talking about how great his kid is on computers, yeah, it turns out he's amazing.
With a Commodore 64. Sushi jackknife.
Sushi jackknife. Let's roll.
Let's roll this shit.
Are we rolling?
Yeah, we are rolling. I do want to make sure I hear you, though. So
Do you hear me rolling?
talk some more.
Rolling? Rolling?
Yeah, you're recording.
Rolling.
Can you go to the other one real quick?
Yeah. Now I'm rolling over here.
You are rolling over there.
I rolled both places.
How kind of you.
I'm a real roller.
You're a real roller. You're real rolling. Okay. Let's do this thing.
Yeah.